And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a little card game from Korea called Black Swan. Well, not really a card, it uses tiles, but it's essentially a card game. But there's no trick taking in this game, there's no ladder climbing or card shedding. You're just trying not to play the 7th card, or sometimes play the 7th card. Tile, card, you'll see. So here is the game. It's basically the same as a deck of cards, except the suits are a little bit different. We got blue, yellow, red, and green, but they're still numbered from ace to 10, and then the jack, king, and queen. You have 2 wilds, and then you have the Black Swan, which is the name of this game. So at the beginning of each round, players are going to take 14 tiles randomly. You'll put them down and shuffle them. So let's say I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So everyone's going to have those. On your turn, you're going to put some tiles in the middle of the table. Now you can put 1 tile in the middle of the table. It doesn't really matter what you put in the middle of the table, except it's going to matter for points purposes. You can put 2 tiles that have the same number, or they're the same character. So I could put, for example, let's see, what do I got here? I have 2 9s. I could throw 2 9s out. I could put a run out here, but the run has to be of the same color. So here I have a 6, 7, 8 of the same color. I can put that out. Here's the deal. There are 6 tiles out. Whoever puts the 7th tile out. And so when there's 6 tiles out, you have to play a single tile. When there's 5 tiles out, you have the choice of playing 1 or 2. So they could play the 10 and the jack here of blue, or they could just play 1. It doesn't matter. But when you put out the 7th, you are going to get all those tiles. And you keep doing that. If you run out of tiles at any point, then the last 7 tiles in the game, you're going to get regardless of who, quote unquote, wins them. So aces are worth 20 points. You want to get aces if possible. You also want to get the 10s, jacks, kings, and queens. Those are 10 points. 5s are 5 points. Wilds are minus 20, and the Black Swan is worth minus 100. So that's kind of a tricky one. You do not want to win the Black Swan. And if you do win the Black Swan, hopefully you win at least 4 aces to get the positive 80 to counter the 100 points. So if there's a negative 140 points in the game, but there is 30 times 4, 120. No, there's not negative 140. There's like 150. So if you won every single thing in the game, you would probably come out slightly ahead. Now, if you play with 4 players, you play partners. So you're working together with your partner trying to win as many as you possibly can in points. You'll add your points to theirs. I love backlight tiles like these. I think they're super fun. These are slightly off shape, and I'll tell you why, because if you mix these up, you'll notice that it's hard to mix them up without them rolling over like this. They're just a little too fat so that they roll. I mean, this makes them so they stand up really pretty in front of you like this, but they're just a little too fat. I think a little bit thinner, they would have stayed flat on the table and not rolled around. Also, I mean, there's the elephant in the room. You could literally play this game with a 52-card deck that also has 2 jokers, and then you just need 1 other card. So it's not that different. Now, I like the different colors on these, and I think the colors are nice, but there's nothing really that unique here other than the Black Swan tile. But it is nice. Now, you have to actually be very careful when you're putting the tiles in this box, because you're going to have to stack them like this, or they're not going to fit in. Now, Gary Kim, the designer, has made many small little games like this. Probably his best known game is the little hare and tortoise game that I think is a fantastic little racing game. And Black Swan is amusing. At first, you're kind of like, what am I doing? I'm just going to play 1 tile and then 1. And so you're sitting there counting this out. This actually brought to mind a game that I played many times in the past where there's many versions of it. You have rows of something and you push down a bunch of things in one row, and the last person to push one down loses. There's a boxing, you can fill in boxes. It has various names. That's what this feels like. So if I'm thinking, if I put out one, and you put out one, and you put out one, and I put out one, and then I put out two, then you're forced to take it. Okay, but if you put out one and he puts out two, and so you're thinking about that. So you might have a run of 4. You're going to look at what you have. I have a run of 4, and I have these two numbers the same. So I can play lots of different ones. By the way, wilds can be played anywhere. So I have lots of groups of ones, and I have, one pair and 1 4. When's the best time to play them? Obviously, I want to set it up so that when there's a lot of points out there, a couple aces, we want to take it. I want to be the one to play the 7th tile. But I don't want to play the 7th tile when that Black Swan is out there. And when you have the Black Swan, you're like sweating a little bit, like, oh no, how am I going to get rid of this tile without everyone else noticing, without going to my partner or something? So it's interesting, it's amusing, and I like this idea. Again, it's a little weird because the suits don't matter that much except for runs. You can play other games with this. You could play a regular trick-taking game. You could play hearts. You could play spades with this set. But the tiles being as thick as they are and they don't shuffle very well, that's a little problematic. And the fact that there's really nothing here that's that unique. Now that I told you how to play this game, you could almost grab an ordinary deck and throw in one extra card if you have it, or if the deck has a blank card or something, and call that the Black Swan. That's a little problematic. And that's what keeps me from recommending it. It was amusing, it was fun, it's quirky, and if you see this somewhere, you might be like, yeah, I'll take this little Black Swan game. But I can't recommend it much more than that. I wouldn't go out of my way, I guess. If someone brought it to the table, I would try it out. But also, like I said, you might try it out with another deck of cards. So it's still unique and fun, and Gary Kim still knows how to make something different. Like, this is a game that uses the suits and things in a way that I felt was different, although it also felt the same. It's kind of a weird mix. But that is what makes up Black Swan. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time. Dice Tower Judgment, fun and quirky.